As requested, today we delve into the translation and meaning of Fila Indiana by Angelina Mango, released on December 1st, 2023. And, fun fact, this song was part of the soundtrack of the Italian teen drama Noi siamo leggenda, We Are Legend. Fila Indiana is all about love, but not in the way you might expect. In fact, probably it would be more correct to talk about loves, plural, love for people, love for your homeland, but most importantly, painful, unrequited love. With this track, Angelina Mango invites us into a narrative rich with cultural and personal significance, offering not just a song, but a heartfelt exploration of love, trust, and identity. So, whether you are an Italian language learner or a cultural enthusiast, Fila Indiana provides a beautiful lens into the complexities of Italian society. That said, let's start. Ehi, ehi, hey hey, la terra è terra, pure senza radici. Land is land even without roots. In Italian, we don't have the distinction between earth and land, since the word terra can mean both. For simplicity, I translated it as land to underline the metaphor. However, due to the peculiar double meaning of terra, the English translation physiological loses something. Here, terra is earth if we translate it literally, but land if we want to convey the metaphor. So, technically, both are correct, but either way, if you don't consider this nuance, you miss something. Pure se non mi tiene attaccata a terra, even if it doesn't keep me grounded, e mi sporca I vestiti, and gets my clothes dirty. These lines can be interpreted in several ways. What comes to my mind is the picture of a land that drags you down. In Italy, we have this issue where the country is not managed as it should, so many people have to move to get a job, either to other regions, usually the northern ones, or other countries. When it happens, you are often marked as a betrayer, but the truth is that if you stay in your land, you have no future. This metaphor conveys a conflictual relationship with your land as in your home. The feeling of, I love my home, I want to hold it close to my heart, but it also hurts me because it tries to drag me down. Or in Mango's word, mi tiene attaccata a terra. It keeps me grounded, as in it blocks me. Mo che te ne vai, ricordati della terra. Now that you are leaving, remember the land. More common in the center and South Italy, mo is a strictly colloquial way to say now. La fila per l'ostia, tutti a bocca aperta. The queue for the host, everyone with their mouths open. The ostia, host or wafer in English, is the thin disc of wheat flour consecrated and distributed by the priest during the Mass for the Christian sacrament of Eucharist or Holy Communion, where the Catholic Christians receive the body and blood of Christ in the form of the bread, here ostia, and the wine. La casa che ti caccia di casa presto. The house that kicks you out early. Tanto agosto è Cap Vierne e I piedi dentro la fossa. Anyway, August is the start of winter and feet inside the grave. Despite what I wrote, since here Mango speaks fast, I'm not 100% sure if she's saying e I piedi dentro la fossa, feet inside the grave, or e hai I piedi dentro la fossa. You have the feet inside the grave. Anyway, the meaning is pretty much the same and it's related to the idiom agosto è Cap Vierne. August is the start of winter. Agosto e Capo e Vierne is the dialect pronunciation you can find in Campania and Basilicata. The Italian pronunciation would be Agosto e Capo d'inverno. More common in southern Italian regions, this idiom literally translates as August is the head of winter. It comes from the rural tradition and it hints at the fact that in August you have to start to get ready for the harvest that will come in the next months, mainly referring to olives, grapes, and wheat. But it also used to mean that the nice summer weather was about to end, leaving the place to the harsh winter cold. Nowadays, due to climate change, that's not true anymore, but the symbolic meaning stays. And this is precisely what interests us. In many cultures, seasons are used to represent the cycle of life, where spring and summer represent youth, while autumn and winter are associated with old age. Specifically, winter often symbolizes death. So, in this context, Agosto e Capo e Vierne means your prime is gone and you are heading towards death. And this explains the following idiom. Avere un piede nella fossa. Here a bit modified to musical needs into piedi dentro la fossa. Avere un piede nella fossa, literally having a foot in the pit, has the same meaning as the English idiom having one foot in the grave, which means being about to die. So, piecing everything together, the meaning of this line is anyway, the end of the youth is the start of the old age and you're already about to die or heading towards death, which, in my humble opinion, hints at the ephemerality of life. Sì, lo so. Sì, lo so che il sangue è sangue. Yes, I know that blood is blood. Ma ci sono vampiri. But there are vampires. In Italian society, family holds a place of honor, and in some environments, everything shall be forgiven just because it's family, which leads to the normalization of a series of toxic behaviors. E ci sono famiglie che perdono sangue. And there are families that lose blood. As in, families who lose family members or are generally in pain. E famiglie felici and happy families. Alberi che crescono senza radici. Trees growing without roots. As in people who grow up without a family or a home. This is a central theme in Mango's music since she lost her father at young age. E tarantelle lontane scivolano giù al mare, più giù. And distant tarantellas slide down in the sea, farther down. Now, the tarantella is a traditional and popular dance from southern Italy, characterized by movement and very lively rhythm. Due to its cultural importance, it developed peculiar symbolism that gives this line a deeper meaning, related to the sense of restlessness this dance conveys. In fact, che tarantella is an idiomatic expression that means what a mess. Thus, tarantella can be used broadly and symbolically to indicate a big problem. Here, the big problem coming from afar and sinking in the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, is something that Europe and Italy have been struggling with for years. Migrants. The fact that I didn't find any analysis dwelling on this line is quite puzzling to me. I don't know if I should take this as another attempt to put this matter under the rug, but let's keep going. Io ho imparato a bussare, lo giuro. I learned to knock, I swear. This line is so general that opens to many interpretations. The way I see it is I learned to be respectful and polite, and yet people are not giving it back to me. Then we have the refrain, picturing the moments right after the death of Angelina's father, when journalists siege her house looking for scandals, only to find people paying their respects to the family. Cercano il veleno nella spazzatura. They look for poison in the garbage. Fuori dalla porta della nostra casa. Outside the door of our house. Trovano soltanto 400 mozziconi. They only find 400 stubs di ospiti impegnati ad abbracciare mamma. Of guests busy hugging mom. Ne conosco pochi. e forse nemmeno mi importa, ma sorrido. I know few of them and maybe I don't even care, but I smile. E chiedo, volete un bicchiere d'acqua? And I ask, do you want a glass of water? As in, even if I don't know these people, I politely welcome them. Stringono i miei zigomi più forte negli spazi tra le nocche. They squeeze my cheekbones tighter in the spaces between their knuckles. Le vecchie signore in fila indiana. The old ladies in single file. Here Angelina compares the multitude of people came to pay their respects to the family to the aforementioned old ladies in queue for the Eucharist. Le vecchie signore fila indiana. The old ladies single file. Fila indiana, fila indiana. Single file, single file. Ho deciso di far pace con te. I have decided to make peace with you. Pure se mi hai lasciato sola, even if you left me alone. Here Angelina expresses the fact that she processed the grief for the loss of her father. Ho deciso di far pace con te. I have decided to make peace with you, pure se mi hai fatto paura, even if you scared me. Io non ho più fantasmi sotto le lenzuola. I no longer have ghosts under the sheets. Io conto più fantasmi tra i banchi di scuola. I count more ghosts among the school desks. A play on words that hints at the ghosts classically represented as bed sheets in Halloween costumes, and probably a reference to when she felt abandoned in high school after the death of her father. Ho la tavola imbandita coi bastardi di Natale. I have the table set with Christmas bastards. Io ero un essere speciale, ma non hanno avuto cura di me. I was a special being, but they didn't take care of me. A reference to the famous song and love anthem by Franco Battiato, La Cura, where he says perché sei un essere speciale ed io avrò cura di te. Because you are a special being and I'll take care of you. L'amore è avere cura di me. Love is taking care of me. L'amore era chiamare ogni mattina una parola per me. Love was calling every morning a word for me. Bastava una parola per me. One word was enough for me. Invece avete solo sete. Non mi conoscete. Instead you are only thirsty. You don't know me. E siete in fila. Io sono il vostro prete. And you are in line, I'm your priest. When Angelina's father passed, she felt like a priest distributing the body and blood of Christ. Here, her father. In this section, she's calling out all those people who came to take instead of giving when she needed the most. She's calling out all those people who showed up just for the facade, but then disappeared when she really needed them. Io so cosa vuol dire amare da morire. I know what it means to love to death. Ho bisogno di uscire. I need to go out. Non riesco a respirare. Devo andare via. I can't breathe, I have to leave. The frustration she conveys when singing this part perfectly conveys the feeling of the lyrics. And then the song ends with a repetition of the refrain. Le vecchie signore, fila indiana. The old ladies single file. Fila indiana, fila indiana. Single file. Cercano il veleno nella spazzatura. They look for poison in the garbage. Fuori dalla porta della nostra casa. Outside the door of our house. Trovano soltanto 400 mozziconi. They only find 400 stubs. Di ospiti impegnati ad abbracciare mamma. Of guests busy hugging mom. Ne conosco pochi e forse nemmeno m'importa. Ma sorrido. I know few of them and maybe I don't even care, but I smile. E chiedo, volete un bicchiere d'acqua? And I ask, do you want a glass of water? Stringono i miei zigomi più forte negli spazi tra le nocche. They squeeze my cheekbones tighter in the spaces between their knuckles. Le vecchie signore in fila indiana. The old ladies in single file. Le vecchie signore fila indiana. The old ladies single file. Fila indiana. Fila indiana. Single file. And there you have it, a deeper dive into the meaning behind Fila Indiana by Angelina Mango. Now, let me share some personal opinions about this song. When I have to write song analysis videos, I look for interviews where artists explain their point of view and creative process. And gods, the Italian interviews are so bad. In my opinion, a talented interviewer has the ability to help the artist convey their truth. However, the majority of interviews with Angelina Mango legit try to force the same story on her. You are so young and your father is so central in your life. Every time I read something about Angelina Mango, it's always about her father. Listen, I get it. Pino Mango, Angelina's dad, is central in her songs, and rightfully so. But their lyrics are so much more than just her father. This song in particular has so many layers, and all the analyses talk exclusively about the relationship with her father. In Italy, we have big issues with paternalism, and the way Angelina's lyrics are read, it's the perfect example. This song is great because it conveys one of the most human feeling of all times, the frustration and pain of not being loved back. Angelina's pain is missing the love of her father, but also having to deal with fake people who show up for the facade and disappear when you need them. And what makes her a great artist is her ability to push that farther and embrace many other nuances. Her pain for her father's loss is also the pain of those who have to leave their country or are rejected by their family. The pain is hers, but also yours and mine. This pain is every time we feel rejected by the world when we know we deserve to be loved. Because it's the same pain in different nuances. And because a song is not worth its story, a song is worth the timeless emotions and feelings it conveys, and that's why Fila Indiana will speak to the hearts of many. That said, I hope you enjoyed this dive into Fila Indiana. Let me know in the comments what song we should explore next. Grazie for watching and... Arrivederci!